Welcome back to The Take with Tyler, where I'm taking on movies, TV, and even that bully that used to kick your ass in high school. Now, I'm a little late to the party, and we're almost completely through January. What I do want to do today is go ahead and talk about the movies that I am most excited to see in this 2025 year. We're going to go some ice, little vodka, some lemon juice, banana pepper water, fancy martini glass, garnish with banana peppers, and here you have a banana martini. Now, a couple of disclaimers to my list here today. Number one, this is my list. This is not your list, but I do encourage you to share with me your list. Number two, because January is pretty much all but done, that's my bad, I'm not going to include any movies that did come out in January that I was genuinely excited about. These movies will be for whatever we have remaining for the rest of the 2025 year. First, we got to throw out a couple of honorable mentions. Number one, the Naked Gun movie. This has been coming down the pipeline and this is on the horizon, but a new Naked Gun movie starring Liam Neeson is possibly upon us. I don't know that for sure it's coming out in 2025. That's why it's getting an honorable mention. The movie Novocaine with Jack Quaid, who is star of The Boys. He's finally getting his own movie. And of course, it's got to have something to do with superheroes. And he is this superhero-like character. So good for you, Jack. Way to be the star on this one. The new Captain America movie. This one only gets an honorable mention because honestly, I haven't quite enjoyed the Captain America since Chris Evans has left. And honestly, all the Marvel movies have kind of been going downhill lately. So honestly, this one's just going to get an honorable mention for me. And finally, to round out the honorable mentions is The Bride. Maggie Gyllenhaal is directing this movie, and it's a Frankenstein-type movie, and it's going to be from the perspective of the bride. It's got Christian Bale in it. It's going to be freaking amazing. I am super excited. Anytime we have a monster movie or even a Frankenstein-like movie, I'm in. First up on my list, coming out on Valentine's Day, we got The Gorge. Now, this is going to be a movie with Anna Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller. It's essentially a romantic monster movie. I don't know any better way to describe that, but honestly, you got those two and Sigourney Weaver in there. This movie is going to have a hard time flopping, or at least not be watchable. I think either way, you're going to enjoy the hell out of it. Next on my list of movies I'm excited to see is The Monkey. Now, this is going to be starring Theo James, and he is actually playing two parts. He plays himself and his twin brother. So I don't know which one is himself and which one is the twin. It's being labeled as a horror/thriller movie, and honestly, Theo James killed it in the new Netflix series, The Gentleman. So honestly, this to me is going to be hopefully a good addition to what is becoming a very good cinematic career for him. This movie is also directed by Osgood Perkins, who, if you don't know who that is, he actually just recently directed Longlegs. And if you haven't seen Longlegs, holy shit, it is a heart-pounding thriller of a horror movie. Next on my list, we got Mickey 17. Now, Mickey 17, I have no doubt, is on most people's list of anticipated movies to watch in 2025. You got Robert Pattinson, who just played probably his biggest role ever in The Batman with Matt Reeves. And he's also been in other movies like Tenet. His career is honestly just taking a different, less vampire-y type role, if you know what I mean. He tried his best. But this sci-fi movie revolves around Pattinson being a disposable employee who just dies over and over and over again in just more and more ridiculous and horrific ways that it's bound to be interesting. And eventually, there's going to be some sort of a clone-on-clone situation where you don't know who's the real one and who's the disposable one. So it's a movie that I'm just ecstatic to see this year. Next on the list is going to be Ryan Coogler's horror film, Sinners. And that's starring Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan can do no wrong. He's done Creed, Black Panther. He was Jamal in the movie Hardball. Bet you didn't know that. Go look it up. He just ultimately dominates the screen in any movie that he's in. A horror movie involving Southern Western style vampires? Sure, I have no doubt that he's going to kill that as well. Literally and figuratively. And with Michael B.'s movie history grossing well over $2 billion, it's hard to say that this movie isn't going to have a really good shot at being successful. Now, I had a hard time putting this next one on my list, but ultimately, I am excited for it, and that's going to be Thunderbolts. I mentioned earlier that the Captain America movie is only getting an honorable mention for me. That's because I've kind of seen what they've already done post the Endgame movie. So for that, I kind of expect a little bit less than what I maybe expect from this. These are the throwaway characters, the ragtag group, the group that provides all the comedic interest for most of these other Marvel-type movies. You got Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Wyatt Russell as Agent Walker, Florence Pugh as Yelena, and just a few of those other characters that make their way into every single Marvel movie. And honestly, they're very important. They're very exciting characters, but ultimately just they're not the star of the show. Bringing all these misfits together, I'm hoping creates some sort of magic on the silver screen. So I'm going to give this one a full shot, and I am very excited to see this movie. This next one I could have said every year for the last probably 7 years, but it is the Mission Impossible movie. What I assume is the last Mission Impossible movie. Tom Cruise has done a fantastic job keeping this series alive, and honestly, like a like a nice fine wine. They're kind of getting better with age. Now, he himself is in his 60s, and he is still jumping out of planes, getting hit by cars, fighting like 12 dudes at once. Literally broke his ankle in the 6th one. Just walked it off. If this is the last movie in the series, I am very excited to see it because I have watched it from beginning to end. I'm super curious to see how they're going to wrap up the storyline and see if Ethan Hunt gets his happy ending. Next on my list is Ballerina. Now, one of the main reasons I'm excited for this is because Keanu Reeves is going to show his face in this, and I am excited to see him anytime I can see him on the screen. Also a big fan of Ana de Armas. Not horrible to look at. But more than anything, I'm just curious how much more bizarre and how much more crazy they can go with this story. If you've seen the other John Wick movies, you know that the main component of this movie is just shooting as many people in the head as you can in a 90-minute span. Don't get comfortable with any characters because more than likely they're getting shot in the head. These ballerina dancers also become hitmen, so honestly, I have no doubt it's just going to be John Wick, but for chicks. And if you're going to keep throwing Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas in these movies, fuck it, show me 10 of them. F1 is going to be the next movie that falls on this list. Now, you got Brad Pitt as a Formula One racer, and honestly, I feel like this is a little bit out of his wheelhouse. He did do Moneyball, and Moneyball was amazing. He did very well, and he portrayed Billy Bean to a T. So with that, I think he can do very well in this also sports kind of biopic slash dramatization of essentially what is Days of Thunder. Damson Idris also seems to be some sort of a character in this movie, and honestly, if you haven't seen him in Snowfall, go watch Snowfall. Now, Joseph Kosinski being in the captain's chair directing this movie, most notably known for things like Top Gun Maverick, I'm curious to see if he can kind of replicate the success he had with that and keep going forward with this movie. Now, Brad Pitt also doesn't ever seem to age. I don't know what he's doing, what magical fruit he's injecting into his veins, but at some point, he's got to start looking like his age. And from the movie poster, it doesn't seem like it's this movie. Now, also coming out midway through the year is going to be James Gunn's Superman movie that I think everyone is curious what's going to happen. I did a review on this when the trailer dropped, and to be completely honest, I'm pretty jacked for it. Now, with James Gunn directing this movie, honestly, he does a great job with finding source material, bringing to light things that were in the comic books that people want to see out of their superheroes. Whether it's the crazy costumes, the fucking hair that just seems to be all over the place in this trailer. Honestly, if you go look at my review, you'll know what I'm talking about. And honestly, as a young kid growing up, I was such a DC nerd. I love Batman. I love Superman. Big fan of The Flash. I am just so excited for this kind of universe to get a reboot, and I'm hoping it starts with this movie. And last but not least, at the end of the year, we can expect to see the new reboot of the movie The Running Man. Now, this is going to star Glenn Powell. If you're asking yourself, who is Glenn Powell, turn on the TV in 2024 and you will see him in everything. Twisters, The Hitman, Anyone But You. Just so sexy. I'm not saying I would, but come on. Now, The Running Man in 1987, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was at the helm, was just kind of all over the map, kind of just an 80s just catchphrase and explosions and people being ripped in half, and it probably wouldn't survive in today's era. But with technology the way it is, honestly, I have a feeling that this movie has a chance to just be a fun, action-packed, maybe still one-liner, but ultimately fun movie for everyone to enjoy. And with that, we wrap up my list for the most anticipated movies of the 2025 year. Now, if you have a different list or you have some movies that I did not mention, go ahead and throw them in the comments and let me know what you think. Let me know why you're excited for them. You know, maybe we have different movie preferences, but ultimately, I'm excited with what we have to come this year. I think 2024 was a little bit of underwhelming. Super excited to see what we have going on this year. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think my next one's going to be movies that I'm pretty sure are going to suck in 2025. So tune in next time.